Hello and welcome to Solfrita. I'm Mayra.
I'm Rico.
And today we are going to be talking about the homeless explosion situation that's going to be happening.
Okay, so in case you haven't been aware of what's going on with politics and unemployment, a lot of people are about to lose their coverage from unemployment, not just because it expired, but also because of the $600 a week benefit that the Senate and Congress had passed together for the initial. The Senate is now trying to say, we're going to give you a lot less money, like $200 a week instead of $600, because apparently $600 is more than what you were making at your job, and we want you to go back to work exposing yourself to a virus that doesn't have a vaccine, and people aren't really wearing masks the way they're supposed to. So, hang on. With that being said, what have you had to say?
Well, with that being said, there's going to be a lot of people who are looking for ways to help themselves out of a situation where they might find themselves homeless. And projections have said approximately 40 million people can be affected by this. And I'm like, that's a staggering amount of people. Just imagine how many homeless people you see on the streets now. And then imagine that, like, even
an order of magnitude more people.
We've already seen people out here that it had gotten bad, and then it seemed like because of COVID, they had helped the homeless to get off the streets so that they could, be able to take care of themselves and get hygiene. So we didn't see a lot of homeless people for a while there. But then again, we were also locked indoors for 2 months. But it's one of those situations where there's going to be a lot of homeless people out there.
A lot.
And for those who've never been, homeless, I've never been homeless to the point where I'm living out of a car, but I had to prepare to be living out on the streets. So I didn't even have a car at the time. But so there's certain things that people should try to do right now while you still are in a home. And
that's what this episode is all about.
Yeah.
We have a list for you just in case you should find yourself out on the streets. Your landlord is no longer tolerating you living and not paying there. And we understand that you're probably stressed all the way out.
Yeah.
And nobody is on completely solid ground, not even us. But right now, we're not homeless. We're surviving.
Yeah,
and go ahead.
We don't have any issues that would put us out on the street. So, because we're
at the moment.
Yeah, but that could change for anybody.
Exactly.
Like, when everything, and this is the scary part, everything hasn't really hit the fan yet. So this is just the leveling up of misery. So
the very beginnings.
Yeah, so these are things that we have to think about for ourselves and for our family. And
by proxy, for you.
Yeah. So right now, if you're at home and you know that this is imminent, you might want to start looking at places where you can get free meals. Because the first thing that you want to do is be able to nourish yourself so that your immune system stays healthy and you can be able
to get back on your feet.
Get back on your feet without having to pay or look for food. Now,
you want to
kitchens.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Okay. Soup kitchens, churches that give, that help the homeless and do, breakfast or lunch or whatever they can provide. I'd say pantries, but remember, pantries are usually for people who have stoves that they can work from and cook from, obviously. So you could probably get some fresh produce from a pantry, but try to stay away from, ham and cheese, things that you're going to need a fridge for.
Yeah, nothing perishable. Obviously all food perishes, but you want something that either has its own natural wrapper, like fruit and vegetables, that keep for a little bit longer.
Yeah, so,
Or Twinkies. Twinkies last forever.
Don't do Twinkies.
Don't do Twinkies.
So this is probably one of those times where if your health wasn't that great, it might actually improve because fruits and vegetables are probably going to be your best friend.
That's a kind of horrible statement there. The homeless diet is what you're promoting here, right?
I'm just saying, when you're homeless and you can't, for some people who are accustomed to eating out all the time or making horrible life decisions in their fridge, it's like,
You don't see a lot of obese homeless people. Let's just put it that way.
yeah, that's
So-
true. So just,
You want to pre-prep yourself to make this hard landing a little bit softer if you possibly can. We're aware that this is going to be a very stressful time that you don't need. When you have stress, it compromises your immune system. And if you're going to be living outdoors or in your car, you definitely want to make sure that
you're tip top as much as you possibly
as much as you
can.
possibly can. And that includes food, going to places that are tranquil, where you're probably not going to be robbed by other people that are in your situation. It's a real problem because go
you're
ahead.
going to be going through, basically, you gotta kind of have to look at it like prison. I've never been in actual prison where I've been behind bars for a crime I've committed. We did.
What about that one time?
That one time would have been when I was 13 and I was in the Police Explorers and they put us in jail so that we could get an idea of what it's like for people who go to jail.
So scared straight.
No, it was, we were training to be police officers.
No,
police
but
cadets.
did it scare
Yeah.
you?
Well,
Did you want to
yeah.
be a criminal after that?
Actually, I was happy that I was out that late at night, and I was like, wow. And got to meet a couple of cool whores and, a couple of cool drug dealers. And it was like, wow, so you guys do drugs. And anyways, we were children. The point is, this is going to be like a really freaky initiation. There's going to be people out there that know a hell of a lot more than you, know how to get away with a lot more than you. Some people are good, some people aren't. Some people want to help you to find that next soup kitchen. The other person's looking at that backpack, like
Exactly.
what's in it, because they're just going to assume that you're freshly new to the homeless scene. You might have more provisions than what they have. So you got to be careful. You got to think about those sort of things. So
Here we are.
here we are.
If you've ever seen a zombie apocalypse movie, it's like that, except they're not trying to eat you personally. They're trying to steal your provisions and eat your food,
or talk, because they're also lonely.
Exactly.
So obviously you don't know who you're going to run into. If you're lucky, all the homeless people you encounter aren't going to have mental issues, drug issues, or just
a lot of the people of the 40 million are going to be just like you, scared out of their minds, not knowing what to do, not knowing where to go or how they're going to get out of the situation. And again, this is what this whole episode is for. We're here to help you at least soften the landing a little, because there's no softening for being homeless.
Yeah.
But
if this helps, great. So we have, if you're single, obviously your situation is going to be a hell of a lot easier to handle. Obviously, the first step that you're going to want to do is, I'm assuming everyone has already called family and friends to see if you could stay at their home. If you're single, it's usually a little bit easier for someone to loan out their couch or put you in a corner somewhere, just so that you can get off your feet. If you're a couple, you might be able to find someone who will take you both in. If not, then separate parents, whatever, friends. With a family, that's where things get a lot trickier, and it's one of those situations that not everyone wants to open their home to whatever zoo you had at your house coming to someone else's home. You got to understand, not a lot of people want to do that.
they got to be really close friends for them
Or
to be able
family.
to accept that.
Yeah, and even family doesn't like to do that very often. However, we're hoping that people are realizing that this is something that many people can't avoid, because it's not like
They had a choice in the matter.
They had a choice for all this stuff to happen, and that our, system was so crap. However,
If you
there's-
have people to call
them
them up.
now and
Yeah.
put the pride thing aside. Get that out of the way.
Especially if you have kids. You have no room
You
for
have-
pride at this moment,
No,
because
you got to take care of them.
those little people have no idea what's going on, and if they do, they're probably getting just as scared as you are. So
Because they're going to lose a lot in this move or eviction as you are. So, and for children, it's just the smallest little thing that you lose as a child. You will not forget it. We have clothes. So you've already called your soup kitchens and found out where you can get free foods and stuff. You're going to need clothing for everyone. You're not going to be able to take everything. So here's another situation.
This is homeless prep 101 right here.
Yeah, so if you still have some means and you can pay for
Storage facility.
That's right. You can keep the bulk of your stuff, as much stuff that's important to you. Change of clothes, so that you can go through clothes and, yes, that's important.
Pictures,
memorabilia of important things.
Yep.
This is not
personal papers.
Yeah, personal papers, documents, passports. I would say leave in the storage facility
Until you need it, yeah. Because
Until
unless
you
you're
need
leaving
it.
the country, you don't need your passport.
Right. So everything
We'll get to that.
is necessary, put it in the storage facility. Because you might not be able to pay rent, but you can afford a couple of things. A storage unit to keep as many things as you can.
You can also put your non-perishable foods there.
Yeah.
So that you've got a food supply on the front end that is, like I said, non-perishable stuff like beans, anything canned, great.
Yeah, canned vegetables, whatever you can put in there that you don't want to be carrying around with you while you're out there or looking for work, or just in and out of that facility, your storage facility. Great idea. It keeps you light and mobile, but also keeps
a semblance of your past life.
Yeah, normal safety. However, and just try to make sure, if you have children, to put those precious items that that might not mean anything to you right now, but as a comfort to them, they'll know their
toys. Favorite toys, their blankets, whatever is meaningful to them.
Yeah.
Store it. At least most of it, and give them one to hang on to so that they're not freaking out.
Right. And this is also the time that if you're able to do this, you might want to get a gym membership, either like to the Boys and Girls Club, which do a family type. They have, what is that called? Subscription for families. So you could get into a shower every day or every other day. However you choose to live your hygiene life, do it. But and sometimes they even have programs and things for kids' activities so that you can put your kid into that while you might need an hour or so to go handle something. One of you parents stay with the kids while they're doing finger painting or t-ball, whatever they can do
to distract themselves from the situation.
And understand, it's also a situation where you got to make sure you always have masks and make sure that you always are washing them as well. So have enough masks so that while some are drying, your kids are protected and you're protected.
If you're living in your car, that's great because your car is like your mobile home. You can keep a lot of your supplies, your daily necessities in your car. Obviously, keep your car in a safe place so it doesn't get broken into, and keep it discreetly hidden. Maybe find a parking structure where you can leave your car during the day and then come back to it at night and move somewhere else. What you want to have in your car is...
Well, that's if you don't have to pay for parking, because out here we don't pay for parking, but...
Yeah, there are places where you might. If you can't pay for parking, but you need a place to stay that's safe, maybe go behind a large grocery store. They usually have a loading area and overabundance of parking for like Christmas time, because Christmas time, everybody shows up and they park wherever they can. And so if you can park behind one of those stores, even overnight, great, because not a lot of people know about them. You won't be bothered. It's safe and pretty much quiet. But what you want to keep in your car is a medical kit, Listerine, we'll get to that in a minute, Swiss Army knife, a solar panel, just a small one, just enough to charge your phone, because even though you are living in your car, you still are going to need the internet. You're still going to need to be able to communicate with people and get the news, because your situation might change like that, where they reinstitute unemployment benefits and you don't necessarily have to be living out on the street if all of a sudden you have the ability to get unemployment again.
Yeah, but also, as he said, the solar panel, if you're living in your car, they have solar panels, like we have one that we purchased from O'Reilly's that charges your car battery. So let's say you are charging your phones through your car and not through the solar panel, but now you need to charge your battery because
your car won't start.
Your car won't start because you were cold in the middle of the night, because this is, August,
we're not that far away from cold weather,
cold weather,
especially in the Northeast.
Yeah, so having an instrument like that.
A solar panel is very important.
Definitely help you out and stuff like that. So what else do you want to have? Like, just, it's always good to, you have your Swiss Army knife, have a bat in the car.
Spare change of clothes, obviously.
Yeah. And that's, obviously
there's
whatever,
more to it than that.
Yeah, because you're
obviously
going to need your blankets or whatever you can to keep yourself warm, or pillow to make things comfortable.
bottled water.
Bottled water. And that is another thing.
Imagine you're camping, basically.
Yeah, and always keep a container of bottled water in the car, because you don't know if you can get to your facility, your storage facility, or you might not have one. And that's one of those things. For 50 cents, you could have fresh water, at almost any station that, because we have like lots of water bottle stations out here.
Yeah.
So if I know there's a change shortage, but at the same time, I always, probably because people like me, we save our change so that just in case we have 50 cents to get some, a gallon of water, something.
Exactly.
So
if you don't own your own car and it's either leased or financed, you're probably concerned about keeping your vehicle, because walking the streets is much worse than driving the streets, especially if you're out of a house. If you are not able to pay your car note, reach out to the finance companies or your bank and tell them what the deal is. There's more than likely they're going to tell you, well, you have to pay us,
or we're going to come and
get your
repossess your
car.
car. The thing is this: there's, out of 40 million people, a lot of them have vehicles that aren't paid off. So the chances of them coming for your car right now and repossessing everyone's car who has got a lease and who can't afford it, okay.
You're not top of list,
Yeah.
but at the same time, they
least-
are coming for you. They are aware that you owe them.
Yeah, and at least you can say, I tried to negotiate with you during this difficult time.
And odds are, there's no GPS attached to your car, so they're looking at your old address to find you, which you are no longer at. And so your car is your new address, and so you're going to have to be a little bit more mobile than you'd like if you don't own the car outright, because you could come back and find your car being towed away.
Yeah, with all your stuff.
Yeah, and they may or may not let you take it out. You have to be pretty quick. You don't want to get violent with the repo people. They are usually armed and quite tough because they're used to this kind of thing.
Ooh, this is where we will insert this clip.
Hold on.
Don't think you better than me.
You better be lucky I'm in a good
okay.
mood.
All right.
Man, bro, this gonna clear, man. I ain't got time for this.
You ain't clearing. I'm getting my car.
One is left. You ain't going nowhere. Whoa! Bernice! Oh my God! Bernice!
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Damn! What did you? Yo, I told her I was running back up.
Bernice! I thought you were dead.
Hey, y'all thought that was wrong with you.
Let's go, you know. Get that shit done!
I don't know if it was real, but it looked real.
Keep your car safe. Keep it clean. If it looks like it's abandoned or derelict, they're going to tow it, or somebody's going to break into it. Ed, for God's sake, keep your stuff under a blanket in your car, because if there's other homeless people, they're going to be looking in car windows, looking for their own provisions.
Yeah.
And yours being out in the open is the perfect way to get it.
Yeah, and especially out here, it's like none of this is happening like right now to the levels that it's going to get.
Yeah.
So they're just on a normal day, someone will break into your car because they're a meth heads.
So again, if you have kids, we're going to go back into that. You want to make sure they're safe. You don't want them taken away and put in foster care. So
Because trust, foster care has been bad for decades and centuries, and it's never been good.
yeah, that'll change your whole relationship with your kid if that happens.
Yeah, and that's, for some people,
There's no alternative.
there's no alternative, and I feel so horrible for those people, because you're trying to do everything you can. It's just that right now, this is one of those times that you're still in your house. Go to, like we said, pride be damned. Go to Health and Human Resources
Yeah.
Go there because you have an address right now. They don't need to know that you're going to be out on your ass. Certain things you can omit from talking with them. And this is one of those situations where
You give them your home address,
you give them your
but
home address.
make sure you get a post office box that your mail is forwarded to.
Yes.
Because if they come by the old house to do a health check on your kid,
Wellness check or something.
yeah, you're not there. They're going to be like, okay, what happened here? This is the address they gave us. But what you want to do is make sure that your kids are safe and healthy. Maybe stay somewhere near a hospital.
Yeah, and hopefully it's not a situation where your pediatrician's like, well, I just received a phone call and
Yeah, because if your pediatrician rats you out, you've got bigger issues.
yeah. So the thing is this, there's certain things that you can omit from these
Disclosing to
yeah,
everybody.
Yeah, there's certain things that I don't think are necessarily necessary to explain. Right now, are you in a house? Yes, I am. I'm not going to say where I am tomorrow. Right now, I am in a house.
Exactly.
Write that down. Do you have an idea? Anything's possible. In my mind, I could literally, we don't have the lottery, but I could win the lottery tomorrow.
And everything
Or-
will be fine.
And everything will be fine. Or a family friend or, relative will say, hey, come stay with us. They don't need to know everything about your life. And we have dealt with this situation before. Like, there's
Not to this level,
No.
but to an extent.
Yeah. So this is one of those things that I would suggest. Try to get yourself some health care and food assistance, because that's definitely helps you not to have to look for a soup kitchen or a place like that. It gives you a little bit of control and normalcy to be able, to be able to take your child into a store and say, here, choose something that you want to eat that's already made, or it's cold and you can pop it into the store oven.
Microwave.
Or,
Yep.
Yeah, microwave.
Because your SNAP card won't pay for hot deli. It'll pay for cold. It'll pay for everything else except for, alcohol and cigarettes and whatnot.
But you shouldn't be dealing in that stuff right now. You're homeless.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are perks for people who aren't homeless. And I know it sounds
Coffee and cigarettes are for closers. Is that what you're saying?
kinda. What did you say? Coffee?
Coffee, cigarettes.
Well, no, coffee.
You can get coffee anytime.
Yeah, you should. Let's not. It's horrible. I can't even imagine. But seriously, this is not the time to become an alcoholic or to start doing drugs and start taking up habits. Right now, every dollar you have should be going to saving yourself to get into a place, feeding yourself and your kids, or whatever you got to do. Money should not be spent on bullcrap.
Okay. If you have pets, and this is a big one, if you have pets, don't just ditch them out into nature or throw them into a river. Don't do that. There's places they can be put safely.
No-kill shelters.
Yep. Friends' houses.
Yeah, you never know. I know that if someone was to tell me, hey, I'm losing my spot here, can you take my cat or whatever, I'd be like, yeah. Is that a burden? Yes. But at the same time, that's your friend. And that's,
if you can't take care of their pet,
Yeah.
maybe your friendship is not as solid as you thought. Unless you're like direly allergic to that pet, then
Yeah,
they
I
shouldn't
can
have asked you in the first place.
That's true. Or if the dog or cat has medical conditions that you got to inject it or whatever, and you have to make sure it stays alive.
Yeah, maybe take it to the vet first and say, listen, I can no longer take care of my pet. Please take care of it, rehouse it, don't kill it, and as soon as I'm able to readopt it or come get it, I will. Hook me up, show
Yeah,
some
I don't know if
humanity.
Vets will do that, but they should.
Well, they have the resources. They know
Places.
breeders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, reputable places where you can take your pet.
Yeah, so, and those are the hard decisions as far as pets. They're like our children, they're not our children. And if it was just me out on the street, I'd keep my pet, but at the same time, if
We have
you
a
can't-
cat. Good luck keeping a cat locked in a car for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, and they got to go to the bathroom somewhere. So the whole thing is, pets at this juncture in your life, you might need to allow
Part ways
them-
for that.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the nuts and bolts of that one. Just do what you can. Try to get them to a family friend who can take care of it. Not shelter, no-kill shelter. Preferably, they'll house the cat or dog for as long as they can. And if you get on your feet and you're like, hey, do you still have Fluffy? Sure do. Give me my damn cat or dog.
Let's talk about that real quick. This can't last forever. The pandemic is eventually going to be eradicated. We'll come out with a vaccine.
And hopefully we'll get a new administration in there that's going to start taking care of us from the ground up.
The taxpayers that allow them to function.
And real quick, just so that we're clear, when we've said you got to put pride aside, and it's like you got to ask parents and friends, can I do this? One thing. And when it comes to the stigma of food stamps, SNAP card, EBT, bridge cards,
whatever
the hell they call it in your local woods or whatever. What is it? Neck of the woods. Got to get over that, because you're now homeless. But before you were homeless, you paid into that system. So
exactly. For just in a situation like this.
Just for this situation, this is what you have been paying for. Believe it or not, you did not pay into the system to give people like corporations and billionaires extra money
to bail out.
That's not what your money should be going to. But somehow in our country we've made it seem like, look at all these corporations that are getting billions of dollars and stuff. One day I'll be there and I'll get free money for no reason. But when a poor person or a single mother, or a single father or a family needs food assistance, all of a sudden everyone looks at them sideways like, ugh, like, oh, you're on food stamps? Well, yeah, I wish I was a billionaire to get free money, but I'm not. Billionaires don't need free stimulus packages and billions of dollars to get them through no hard times at all. Their companies don't have feelings. Their companies don't go to bed hungry.
They're stockholders.
They will never understand.
No, they understand. They just don't care.
The thing is, they don't understand that there's going to be what it would be like to have yourself or your children going to bed with empty tummies. I'm thankful that my kids have never gone to bed, ever. The 20-year-olds, I'm sure they never have. Because
they're eating us out of house and home.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe if they did that by themselves, because I don't think they've ever had a day where they were like, whoa. Maybe when we were driving cross country and we were like, well, you got to wait until we get to
the next rest
stop and get to a restaurant to get some food. But that would probably have been the extent of that. Yeah, you're the one who's put all this money into this life-saving, that's where you're at right now, account that you should go and get.
And they're trying to cut you short. Like, literally, they're trying to take $400 a week away from you that you were probably using for food or rent or car notes or whatever. Think of it like car insurance. You pay your car insurance because
in
what
case
if? Yeah, it's what's
get into a car accident.
Exactly. You're covered.
Make sure you check that pride at the door and get every health benefit, stimulus benefit
owed to you.
You put the money in there in the first place. There is no reason not to take advantage of it.
And it's not a pride thing. They owe you.
Yeah, you're the one.
It's your money.
It's your money. So don't feel embarrassed or ashamed when you go to the bank. You don't feel bad that you're taking money out. That's your money you put into the bank, and you don't go, oh, I kind of need. No, you just take your damn money. That's what you're doing. So to feed yourself, to feed your children, and I think they might even have like money that they actually will give you, real cash money that you can get. And if that's the case, that could go towards finding another place. Whatever it is that you need to do it. And don't feel guilty about it, as long as you are staying within the lines of the law.
Yeah.
Try to, if you have to bend it a little, fine. The people in White House right now has snapped it in so many ways. It's like pasta that's turned into rice now. It's been broken so many times. So don't feel bad.
As I was saying, eventually this whole pandemic is going to be eradicated. You really need to start already planning on how you're going to recover. You're not going to be homeless forever. Eventually, you're either going to go back to work or the government is actually going to swoop in and help with the new administration, not this one.
Yeah,
And
they're just going to put a Band-Aid.
yeah, they're not trying to really help you per se. So you're going to get into a house, or an apartment or whatever, but in the meantime, you've already been kicked out of your house, which puts a serious ding on your credit and your ability to get into a new one. My recommendation for this is save up enough money, start off with a hostel. A hostel will put a roof over your head for at least a couple of weeks at a time.
I wonder, have you ever heard of a hostel like in Detroit?
Detroit is hostile.
That's not what I'm talking about. No, it's not.
Okay. No, I have not heard of a hostel in Detroit. It's
But
not
I'm
one of those
saying,
places that
I
people
think
flock
about-
to for that.
Yeah, so, but my thought is, you're going to need, like, the YMCA is like a hostel
Yes.
for, like, men. I don't know if they still do that.
I don't
though.
think they do anymore.
But-
we lived in Detroit, and there used to be a YMCA downtown where people, it was kind of like a hostel / halfway house for recently released prisoners where they could, continue building up their massive muscles. And so if you can get into a hostel, great. If you can get into an apartment for damaged credit, great, because that'll help you rebuild your credit so long as you're paying on time. And once you get your foot back in the door, your main priority is to return to your regular life before all of this crap happened. And we know it's not going to be easy. We know it's scary AF. Don't wallow in what your situation is right now, because you're going to die basically if you allow yourself to stay in here.
Is an enemy.
Has killed more people than almost anything else.
Yeah, you just need to realize, like, this is how we've made it through a lot of the worst parts of our lives, where people are looking at things like this, well, more like this. You can't really see what's around the corner that way. And even if you can and you do this, you might get a glimpse of it, but with that big of a situation, a bad situation being that big,
You need to be able to see the
It's-
whole picture.
so, hold on a second. Just hold. So, with that situation, you can't see around the corners easy. You need to, basically the way that, can I see that pen?
Sure.
We've taken this scenario, and instead of it being this way, we basically flatten it out.
Yeah, we've separated yourself
And
from
we've
it.
decided to come and look at our problems, all of our problems we've ever had, from this angle. This is where we are. Hell is just, it's just the worst situation that we can possibly think of. And this is where we want to be. Right now I have no idea how I'm going to get there, but I know that this is going to be my future.
And it has to be realistic. Like, you can't be homeless and say,
I'm going to be in a $10 million house by the time I
this
get
time
out.
next year.
Yeah. No. Right from here to here, homeless, to not being homeless, but happy.
Yeah,
So
it
there's-
has to be incremental steps that are realistic and attainable.
Yeah. So when you first start out any situation, you're going to start your life looking from 10,000 feet up. It's so much easier to be like, boy, it seems so much shorter, and it does. And as you get closer to it, it seems so much more daunting. But just keep in your mental, capabilities. But from this vantage point, I like the way I see things, because I do see the end of
The light at the end of the tunnel. And it's not the headlamp of an oncoming train. You're actually going to get through this.
Get there. So you just have to constantly think, I know what I have to do. It is not going to be hard. Every morning that I wake up, it's going to feel like the day before. However, there's certain things that you might not have to deal with that you dealt with before.
If you're preparing ahead of time.
If you're in your car right now, and if you're lucky enough, you're like, wow, I still can pay for my phone service. I've been able to pay for the bath, to be able to take showers at the YMCA or the fitness place or whatever. If you have those sort of things, then you're a little bit further along than a lot of people. If you don't have those facilities, when you go into restaurants like Taco Bell or McDonald's, Burger King, and you use those facilities, get in and out. Do not make yourself a nuisance, because not only do you ruin it for other people who might need to do exactly what you're doing in there, you won't be able to come back and wash up and get like a free glass of water or some ice, whatever.
Or a Happy Meal, whatever.
Whatever they can provide you. And I do believe that some companies will start to see the mass amounts of people and will have hours where people can come in and get free food. I don't see why they wouldn't, but whatever. But the thing is, if you're able to get beyond, I got my hygiene taken care of and my food, that's something I don't have to worry about. Now, I need to find a job. You start looking anywhere and everywhere, go to different places that find jobs for you. Whatever that job is, take it. If you have a job and you're homeless, you're so much luckier than everyone else, because you just have to deal with the fact that you sleep in your car or you're in a tent, and you just have to work from, get the clothes from your
storage facility,
and just deal with that until you just rake up the money to find another spot. So,
and quite honestly, if you're not paying rent but you still have some income,
yeah,
this is actually
kind of a blessing.
Kind of a blessing, because our rent is pretty sizable here, as you can imagine. It's not quite San Francisco level, but it's pretty steep.
Yeah, so...
And it's every 30 days. And if all of a sudden we didn't have to pay that, not saying that I'd prefer to live in the car.
We don't want to do that. You hear that? Yeah.
But
However,
if all of a sudden we had this extra income coming in, it would reprioritize our options. We could say, okay, we might be sleeping in one room for a while, but at least we can afford a roof over our head.
Right.
If you have any money coming in, maybe try to get into a super small efficiency apartment, whether you're single,
downsize
with somebody, or you have kids.
Like crazy.
Yep, squeeze the blood out of that dollar.
Yeah, and you just understand, even if, think about it, worst case scenario, you did that for a year. Ugh. But after that year, the fraction of what you're paying in that tiny one bedroom for your whole family might be the down payment on your forever home. Whatever it takes for you to be able to sacrifice now for the greater good of later.
Yeah,
so
because it's all about rebounding.
Back. This is one of those situations that you can stay in a place and downsize like crazy so that you can own your own place, whatever that place might be. If it's a small home, fine. If it's a bigger home, but make sure that you pay attention to what's happening now. That if you can't pay mortgage, you can't pay rent, then they like to take that back, because they're good about removing people, so that they can keep the money. It's not like they go, well, this is how much you've put into this house, we're going to give that back to you since you're not keeping it. They never do that.
No.
But it's one of those situations.
This ain't rent to own.
Yeah. So this is one of those situations that you should be able to see a little, definitely far past where you are right now. Every day you just have to keep that idea of, I see where I'm going. It might feel hard now, but I can handle it. Do not allow your ego or others to try to tell you that you cannot make it through this.
You have a flashlight that only sees 10 or 12 feet ahead of you. And all you really have to do is have faith that so long as you can see the next 10 feet ahead of you, you're going to get to your destination. If you're homeless right now, you're going to not be homeless. Right. You just have to keep moving forward incrementally.
That means, if that means you're homeless right now, in a car, in a tent, but tomorrow you're on someone's couch, you're a winner.
You might not consider that an upgrade, but it is.
You have to look at everything that's around you and happening to you as a plus. You don't sit in however you can, if it's because you've willed it or because you've been blessed to have it, however it is that you need to motivate your mind to accept the fact that these are good things, you have to do it. And you have to cheer yourself, and you have to celebrate those moments.
Those moments, yeah.
And that's the thing that'll get you through. Buy yourself a safe and leave it with
At a friend's house.
At a friend's house or a family member. I keep saying friend's house because I'm assuming if you have family, family's supposed to be taking care of family.
Yeah, we wouldn't even really be talking about this if you had family that was willing to take you in
and be like family, and you should be helping them out. So
Ideally.
if you're at someone's house, a family member or a friend's house, your footprint in that house, and by footprint is
should be itty bitty.
When they want to go take a shower, there better be hot water. Don't you get in, you get out, you get out of their way.
Just be,
Thoughtful.
Yeah, consider it.
Consider it. They have dishes in the sink? No, they don't, because you've cleaned them. Make your being there
A benefit.
a blessing and a benefit to them. Oh, you're not working right now, but they need groceries. What can I do? Let me go get the groceries for you. You might not be paying for it, but you're taking something off of their plate.
Okay, let's move into... I'm going to talk about blame real quick. I want you to calm down, because you get a little antsy on this one. We'll ratchet it up, like... Arr!
Well, no, that was last night because I took 3 sips of wine.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. Okay. Fundamentally, we do have people to blame for this whole circumstance. You being homeless can lead you back to just a few dozen people. The Republican Party doesn't care about regular blue-collar workers. Mitch McConnell, Donald Trump, and the rest of their lot have shown that they don't care about you. What I propose is, since you're either about to be homeless or currently are homeless, maybe make your way down to Washington, D.C. with as many other homeless... Can you imagine, just for a hot second, 40 million people converging on Washington, D.C.? The current population in all of the 10-mile square that is D.C. is 700,000. Now, if you add 40 million angry homeless adults and their children at the doorstep of the Senate or the White House, because it's not really Congress that's doing this to us, it's the Senate and the White House. It was mishandled. The entire pandemic was mishandled. The entire budget was mishandled. The
for years,
distribution of money, wealth and help for us has been mishandled. And now they're trying to short it because they think that, we're just being lazy somehow.
Somehow families who don't have millions of dollars in their account, which we don't, they can live on less than $600 a week. This isn't a third world country. Well, we're definitely headed in that direction right now.
Second world for sure.
Yeah.
So the rich are currently richer because, they have no real concern about stimulus packages or unemployment. They don't care. The people that are directly affected, like us and you, are freaking all the way out. We have people to blame. We can do only so much in terms of election. President Clownface is trying to get people not to vote either in person or by mail. Obviously, in person during the pandemic is not the best idea, but certainly a viable option to get this clown out of office.
Is by mail.
Yeah, I'd wear 3 masks to go vote him out.
Yeah.
But you can't trust the government at this moment. Hopefully it'll turn the corner, but in the meantime, this parlays into the next statement of, if he is reelected again, we have very little incentive to stay in the United States. There's multiple countries in the world that offer a better quality of life for you as a citizen. And quite honestly, the bar of becoming a citizen is getting lower because most of the countries in the world do appreciate the American work ethic. We work our asses off a lot. I mean, consistently you'll see people with multiple jobs, especially out here.
Yeah, but that's what they're using, this administration is using against people, that we're hard workers. But we're hard workers, but at one point we used to be hard workers and we had something to show for it.
One job, you're going to work there for 30 years and retire from it. That's what it used to be.
And it used to be one person could do that. A dad would leave, and it's typically because they were the head of the household, the only person who could make more. They'd get a full dollar. They could go out and provide vehicles, home, and education for all their children,
and vacations,
and like vacation homes on one person's income.
Can you even imagine?
And people would go out and work a hard work and shift and stuff like that.
But it would be 9 to 5.
Yeah, it would be 9 to 5, and you'd always have the holidays off. And when you left work, they didn't call you to have you do work at home. It was, this is when you work, this is when you're off, and that's it.
You get 2 weeks of vacation paid and health care.
Bonuses.
Yeah.
And you had unions to protect you from certain things. But then
it's not like that anymore.
That's not like that. And they want you to believe that having one person having 3 jobs in a family is okay because that shows the American spirit. No, that shows how our government
has failed
us to make us think that we shouldn't be home to raise our kids, that having them be latchkey kids and someone else raising them with their morals and not our own is okay. And then when your kid grows up and you can't afford to give them education because these 3 jobs that I work and leave you for isn't so that I can better your life and get you through college so you could have a better life. It's so that we
strictly
can just,
survival and keep the roof over our heads.
Yeah, and feed.
Oh, you remember the time when people used to have like 3 months worth of salary saved? Like, just in case, rainy day fund. Maybe 3 months worth of pay is enough to get us through this. And to you, kudos. This video, again, is probably not for you. But for those that do have a little bit of a nest egg saved up, maybe the fall will be less impactful as it would be if you didn't have it. So what I was going to say is, if you're not happy with the conditions here and you do have a little bit of money saved up and you're either single, married with no kids, or your kids are grown and moved out, it will be certainly easier for you to change countries and move. It's not that it is a very daunting experience, but if you have a passport and you can really objectively think, am I getting what I want as a citizen of this country from here? And if you can't say yes to that, then you should go. Believe me, if he's reelected again, it is certainly on the table for us to say, we're moving out of this country. We'll go and find somewhere else that we can pay taxes and get a return on our tax dollars or whatever currency they're using. We shouldn't have to be in a position where we are serfs or plebs working just to keep a roof over our head. It should be more than that. We shouldn't be living to work. We should be working to live. And your life should be much better than it is at this particular moment in this country, in this decade. I mean, 2020, ugh, Jesus. But who would have thought? I mean, this was supposed to be flying car time. Instead, it's like Three Stooges. So the last thing is, we're just going to recap quickly. If you are about to be homeless, post office box, adopt kit, make sure that you can try to maintain a certain level of normalcy in your life as best you can.
Right, storage facility.
Yep.
Gym membership for, those reasons that we stated. A list of different soup kitchens, food pantries,
some type of public assistance that you can get.
Public assistance right now before you lose the home.
Yep.
And
don't forget to get your mail forwarded.
Get your pets in a place where it's safe for them, and hopefully you can be reunited at some point. Try to make sure that you make yourself and your children, if you have them, happy. What is it? Oh no.
You got hair. It's all right.
Try to look on the upside, especially if you still have your health. That's great. Keep that going, because that's always going to be a good
number
thing,
one priority. If you're dead, this doesn't matter to you.
Yeah, and then your children are just there.
SOL.
Yeah, stuck out there. So this is one of those times that making sure that you're happy, healthy, as safe as possible.
And don't give up.
Don't. There is light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to be brave enough to get there. And just keep your mind healthy.
And you're going to be, we know, depressed. Completely justifiable.
Who hasn't been depressed in 2020?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, seriously, you should be already got a pretty good callus from everything that you've seen.
Yeah, but being homeless is another dollop of crap on top of everything else.
It is. And I'm not trying to say that, be like, we can all just deal with it. But at the same time,
you are tougher than you were before.
Yeah. So you just have to realize anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And the stuff that we've had in our lives and trying to get to where we want to be, and even once we got here,
it's proof
we're
of that.
some tough bastards here, man. We can handle a lot. And we're those people that even if we were to become homeless, you'll be impressed when we come out of it. Ooh.
Oh.
I thought it was a person coughing. I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, hell.
Okay. Signing off.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. If you liked the information we've given, like, subscribe. There's a notification bell. Share with friends. Definitely share with friends. I think that
It's not our fault. We are sorry.
So this is a lot of information, but hopefully, we'll all be able to get through this, help one another whenever possible, and understand and have some compassion for those who do end up on the street. It's not their fault. This is not one of those situations that, this person was, on drugs or a drinker or such and so. This is one of those things that could have been prevented, that they had no choice but to become homeless.
The sky is falling, and
Yes.
we get it. It's legitimately falling. This isn't some Chicken Little kind of guy saying, it's falling. No, it's really falling, and we get it.
And we all have to be thoughtful and helpful
And
to
resilient.
one another, and resilient, and help one another to get out of this. And we can do it with grace and not allow what I believe is the purpose, which is mayhem, to occur. So that
I'm going to make a list of things that you need for surviving in your car, and I'm not sure how I'll post it. Maybe I'll put it in the comment section.
and so they could just copy and paste it.
Yeah, just a checklist for you, just in case, because you should be able to say that you shouldn't have to think of it for yourself. You're already freaked out. I can help you with that. I'll make a list for you, and if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, that would make
if there's something that
it
we
even
forgot,
better. Yeah,
definitely. And not even thinking. Definitely try to get yourself some healthcare insurance through Human Resources, because if you have a medical condition and you're going to need to get those medicines, your children might have asthma or something, you are going to need that healthcare, and you're going to need to be able to get those prescriptions.
Yet another
So-
reason to leave the country.
Yeah. But that's also another thing so there's a lot of stuff that we could add to it, but then we would be here for a week.
Yeah, you would be driving around in a U-Haul instead of your own car.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us today,
Thank you very much.
and hope everyone has a good life for the future and can make it out of this in one piece, and that you have good family there to support you so that you don't have to go through this by yourselves.
Because you're not. You're not by yourselves. You have at least us.
So at least try to, help you to figure out a couple of things that maybe you didn't think of.
Exactly. So thank you very much, and God bless, and take it easy.